Chadini and I randomly started cooking, and I'm glad I did because it's something that I can't picture myself not doing now.
Hey everyone, I am Hash from Deli. I have a small home business. I have been running it for over 12 years.
As cliche as it sounds, I find cooking quite therapeutic, and I love having friends and family over and cooking up a whole bunch of dishes for them.
I'd always baked with my mom, but then that was tedious. You know, you mix the butter and the sugar for the longest time and it takes the whole day.
Cooking to me is something that I do with a lot of passion and something that I put a lot of heart and soul into.
If you have a really good cake, you know, everybody's going to be talking about it. It lifts up your mood. You know, for me, if it's a really good dessert, people stop talking. They go, when they taste it, and that's the reaction we want.
I'm really excited to share these dishes with you, and I hope you enjoy making them. This is my homemade.
So I'm very excited to be joining y'all for 4 episodes. This is my homemade. Hi everyone, I'm Hash and this is Homemade, and I'm from Deli. And today, this is very exciting. We are going to learn how to make a choux pastry. First, now temperature matters like crazy in this recipe. Eggs at room temperature, but butter is very cold, and so is the water. Water has to be cold as well. And flour, of course, you have to sift it and keep. And we have just a half a teaspoon of sugar. So let's get started. First, I measured out my half a cup of water into the saucepan. I'm gonna add in the very cold butter and get the stove going. Medium temperature, please. So I'm not gonna stir at this point. It has to do its thing. So what's gonna happen is the butter will melt for the heat and kind of cover the water. And when the water is boiling, the steam will get trapped underneath the layer of oil. You know, as if you put water and oil into any container, the oil will always float up and the water will be at the bottom. So we are using that to our advantage. Now honestly though, I have no idea who created this recipe, and it's pure genius, absolute genius this is. And this is where baking becomes a science rather than an art. So the butter is beginning to melt. If you are going to add salt, it's a good time to do that, but the butter already contains salt because this is salted butter I've taken. I'm gonna add in the sugar as well because I want it to get melted, right? And while this is boiling, I'm gonna reduce the temperature to a minimum, absolute minimum. You can't fiddle around with the heat at this point. Dump in the flour and mix it really fast. So I'm going to take it off the stove because I don't want any more heat. So when I'm mixing this, you can see that it's getting kind of firm. Yeah. Then you take it from that saucepan. Yeah. And Now you need to stretch out your arms because this is gonna be painful. Now we add in one egg at a time. You feel like, oh no, the egg is getting cooked in this thing and nothing is happening. Just keep mixing. Even if you feel like it's all separated, it's never gonna come together, just keep mixing, guys. And it's got nice and sticky, and you wanna do this while it's really hot. You cannot wait for it to cool down. So like I said, choux pastry is not easy, but fully worth it if you get it right. Okay, this has come together so nicely. So now, I learned this really cool trick from this French guy. He was like a much better baker than I am. And so this is how you find out whether we have enough egg in this, right? You take a little bit into your fingers, right, like so, yeah, and you stretch it out. Can you see this V that it formed? But if it's flat, that means it's not enough egg. So I'm gonna put a little bit into this piping bag. Oh, it's finicky little fellow. So bring it all the way back down. Right, pipe out a few eclairs. So you have to do this while it's hot. You cannot wait for it to cool down because it will not work. So let people get technical, it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna pipe out some plain rounds. Right, at this point, if you want to flatten out these guys, just touch your finger to some water and pat it down like this. But look at that, I did it without water and it worked just fine. Now this goes in a preheated oven of 190. It has to be in the middle rack and it has to get baked for 25 minutes. But it's always best to check after 20 minutes so that you don't get burnt eclairs or burnt profiteroles. So let's get baking. Hey everyone, so we are going to learn how to make the best vanilla pastry cream. So when you think of pastry cream, it's a little bit daunting, and it is, but I will show you how it can be very simple if you get yourself organized. First things first, I directly put the milk, 1 cup of milk, directly into this. So keep this on the stove. There is 20 grams of corn flour and 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Now remember, always use granulated sugar because if it doesn't melt, you're in trouble. So best to be safe. So you add that, whisk it a little bit, just to mix it all in. 3 yolks at room temperature. Add it to this mixture together just to break the yolks and just to get it going. Nothing strenuous. And we add the vanilla to the milk directly. Now you get the stove going. And at a low temperature, not very low, like medium temperature is fine. You want the milk just hot, not boiling, not simmering, just as it gets hot. It's almost like I'm waiting for the first bubble, but generally I just keep my hand over. If it feels really hot, I'm done. I don't need it to be too hot at this point. Definitely we do not want really hot milk. We don't want it boiling. So when you move this around, you can see get a little bit of smoke, but nothing is bubbling. Yeah, let the stove go, don't do anything, don't switch it off, and very, very slowly you get the egg yolks tempered, but without cooking it. So drizzle a little bit of milk, stir like your life depends on it, because you do not want this to get curdled. So put a little bit more. Now the heat is cooking the eggs, so it's almost like pasteurized eggs by this point. So now it's safe to add all of the milk. Right? And put it back in the bowl, in the saucepan. At this point you might feel like it's not coming together. Have patience, and you need to be very aware. You need to feel what your arm feels. If it's thickening, then you have to stop. You have to stop the stove, take it off the pan. Okay guys, I can feel that it's getting thick. I'm very conscious of it. Okay, it's thickening really, really, really fast. So before it curdles, I'm gonna keep mixing. Don't worry, it will come together. It's not getting messed up or anything. I have this dish right here with me. So this is the moment we need to add the butter. I've broken it into 2 pieces. You add one, mix it in, fill your eclairs with it. You can fill cakes with it, and the last piece of butter. So what we are doing is, with the cold butter, we are stopping the cooking process. We don't want it any more thicker than this. And the best thing about this pastry cream, it's not gluggy, it's not too eggy, and absolutely the right amount of sugar, because I hate sugary stuff. You know, they are cloying and you feel nauseated afterwards. Nothing like that. This is just a subtle taste of, you know, sugar, just to taste. That's it. It's the texture. My goodness, the texture. It's absolutely gorgeous, you guys. Look at this. Look at this. Perfect. This is what we want. We do not want watery vanilla creams. We want something that can hold up a cake layer if necessary. And that is how you make the best and the easiest vanilla pastry cream for any dessert of your choice. So you guys, the choux pastry is right out of the oven and they're puffed up a little bit. I think I needed to add a little bit more egg, but let's see. They are perfect. Can you see? There's enough space for us to fill it up. All right, let's make eclairs first. So I like to use a piping bag for certain things because I'm a very messy human being. If I try to apply that, it's gonna get all over the place and not gonna be very attractive. It's a little hot, but let's hope it does not melt. A really satiny vanilla pastry cream. There you go, guys. Okay. If you're going to make raspberry eclairs, let's keep a few inside. Just paste out a little bit like this. Because see, raspberry is a very, like frozen raspberries that have been thawed. They're very potent and very zesty. So a little goes a long way. For this, I'm just gonna take a bit and apply on top. See what I mean about me applying something? It does not look good. A mistake that a lot of home bakers do is that they make the chocolate sauce too watery, too liquidy. In that case, just keep it in the fridge for a little bit so that it's firm. Whoever says too much chocolate sauce, right? So this one, so I'm gonna dip it in white chocolate ganache. Oh, look at that. Oh man. Okay, the third one. What are we gonna do with the third one? Shall we just keep it as it is and add a few strawberries? See, the only limit is your imagination. Ta-da! How pretty is that? So let's take this first one. Let's keep it a plain profiterole. Yeah, for the purists who say, why are you stuffing these beautiful things? How pretty is that? And make this fellow a queen. Look at that. How pretty is that? Can I fit it in my mouth? Yeah? Wait, how did they turn into men? I don't know. But we are going to go with it. Now they are male profiteroles. I'm sure a lot of you all are like thinking, what is hash smoking? It's not hash. I'm not smoking anything. Right, so guys, we're gonna make this like a very kid-friendly, fun one. Look at that! Lots of dark chocolate chips. Keep a piece of strawberry here. How about homemade shortbread? And let's fancy up this girl. Oh, now the eclairs are girls. I don't know what's happening, you guys. There you go. Those are my gorgeous eclairs and equally pretty profiteroles. So you guys, you can see what's in front of me. Gorgeous eclairs and profiteroles, and this is all basically, I think it must have taken about 1 hour for all of the elements. Yeah, but let's taste it. That's the best part. But you know what, I'm spoiled for choice. I don't know which one I want to taste first, and I also don't want to embarrass myself with like chocolate all over my nose and all that. Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think we should go with that. I'm gonna try a profiterole. I think everybody can agree, you can't go wrong with strawberries and chocolate. I don't like to praise my own stuff, but then again, you know what guys, I did not invent the choux pastry. I'm just teaching you all how to make it, and I hope you enjoyed baking with hash. And if you have any questions, you can always write to me. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. Just type in #Deli and you will find my pages. And well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Homemade.
Hi and welcome to another episode of Homemade. My name's Chadini and I'm from Percy and B. Today we're going to be making prawn tacos with a creamy coriander sauce. So first what we're going to do is we're going to fry the prawns, but before we fry the prawns we're going to season it. So we're going to add some salt, some pepper, some chili flakes and some cayenne pepper. You can reduce the amount of chili according to your preference. You can add more or you can add less according to what you like. And some paprika. And you give this a good mix. I feel like I need a little bit more paprika in it. So you season that with lots of chili and salt. And then we move on to frying it. We're gonna add some oil to a pan. So when the oil's heated up, we're gonna add our prawns into it. We're gonna add a little bit of garlic. So while the prawns are frying, we can move on to making the other stuff. We can chop up the cabbage. We can slice it up in thin strips and add them to a bowl. And add them to a bowl. And now we take the red cabbage and we slice it up the same way to the bowl as well. And then we move on to the bell pepper. And then we add the bell pepper to the same bowl. We first add sour cream onto a bowl. And to that we add some lime juice. And then we need some lime zest, so we just grate some of the peel onto it. This adds a nice zing to it. We mix that up. We get some coriander and then we mince it. And we add that to the sour cream and give it a good mix. I think the prawns are done now, so we can take them off the heat and give it a good mix. I've kept the tails on the prawns because it looks nicer, but when you're making this at home you can remove the tails as well because it's easier to eat it. So what we do now is we add half the sour cream onto the cabbage mix and we mix everything in. Mix, mix. And now we move on to the fun part where we're going to assemble the tacos. So we first take a taco, we put some of the cabbage mixture onto it, then we can add some prawns, we top it off with some more sour cream. So if you can't find taco shells, you can just use pita bread or flatbread, which can be found quite easily in supermarkets because anything kind of works with it. And we're done. So let's have a bite and see how it tastes. Really good. That was really good. Everything came together to make it a really yummy taco. When you're serving this at home, you could assemble it and serve it, or you could serve it with everything separate and people could make it their own customized taco. So this is my homemade. I hope you enjoyed it.